Where's the flag?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Action on the minutes.
Motion to accept. Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? All those in favor? Vote. Any adjustments to the agenda?
No, sir.
And 4 is public comments. Raise your hand when it comes, we have a lot of people here, so just say your name and
My name is Pete Shagnon. I live in Bowdale Lane in Oxford here. I've been a resident of Oxford for about 10 years now, and I come from the state of Vermont. I noticed that one of your business items is to review and approve of a medical marijuana facility in this town. Now, as I came up the highway here from, I think it was Old Stage Road, I'm not sure what it was, but I counted about 5 or 6 marijuana places, and I believe a couple of grow houses down here too, of manufacturing. And my thing is that it's about time to put a cap on this and limit the number of marijuana places that are in the town of Oxford. Now, we can get into the pros and cons of marijuana if we wish. I didn't bring my information with me that I didn't realize that you were gonna vote on this tonight. But medical marijuana actually is an oxymoron. It's not really that medical. It really does nothing. People think it does, but it really doesn't. But the main thing is that you're putting more and more places here in Oxford for marijuana. I think that you should diversify your revenue here by adding other business and capping the marijuana, either recreation or medical. So that's all I want to say. But I think there should be actually an actual public hearing separate from everything else. We could have a pros and cons about licensing of marijuana places in Oxford or expanding marijuana facilities in Oxford. Thank you.
I'll clarify, we did have a public hearing on this agenda item at a prior meeting. This was just continued to tonight.
You see, I didn't know about that. I'm afraid it's probably my fault.
This item has had a public hearing,
Pardon?
and as far as limiting the number of marijuana facilities, that's been tried twice here in the town of Oxford since they did it, and it can only be changed by an ordinance change, which is the townspeople at town meeting.
Well, let's get started.
I think it might be in the works.
Thank you.
Miss?
I just wanted to make a comment on that too. I didn't know that there.
Your name?
Oh, Linda Shagnon. And I just wanted to say that I've got about 4 years of newsletters from an organization that I used to belong to, which gives a rundown of the health problems that marijuana causes, the crime problems that marijuana causes, the accidents that is very obviously, we don't have any statistics to get a blood level or anything like that now, but it could be a problem. It could be people killed on the road by this. We have school problems with this, and we have family problems with marijuana too. So it's not like any other business. I think just about every business I can think of is positive for this community. This one has a lot of negatives. And I'm just very concerned that we already have, I went through and listed 5 of them I could find. And then there were a couple that had 2 other names added to them. And then there are other services that it requires, so that there's other organizations that are helping these. I'm just concerned that there's too many, and we need something to better our communities, not make it worse. And if you want all those statistics, I can readily get it to you. And it's all from scientifically proved that they've done, you know, that people are experts on this issue. So I think you need to look at this. I'm gonna give it to you anyway. And you can read it if you want, but it's gonna be there so that you know what you're dealing with. I'm concerned about our future children, and I'm concerned about driving on the road myself when there's so many people smoking that stuff. I know what it does. Oh, by the way, I am a registered nurse, or I was, I'm retired now. And I guess that's all I would say.
Thank you. Again, townspeople have to vote. We do not have the authority to limit facilities that are following the law. The townspeople will have to vote on that.
You approve it though.
We approve licenses when they come before us and they meet all the criteria.
Could I have a copy of that criteria?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Dan, can we just clarify that the one that we're talking about tonight, just because it's been referenced, is actually a renewal? It's not a new facility. I know there's a little.
It's a new license for a facility that's already existed.
Right.
Well, it doesn't have the same name as the ones I've got on here, so I assumed it was a new one.
It is a new license for a facility that has existed in the
Well,
past.
it's not on my list here, so it is a new one for me.
I don't know what list you have, ma'am. Gary?
How you doing? Gary Blarton, 82 Scenic Heights Drive. I don't usually come to these meetings because I'm usually working until like 8, 9 o'clock, so this is new to me. But I took the day off just because I think this is a very important topic. I did review the video from the last meeting. I understand that there's a potential reevaluation of Scenic Heights Drive. And I think the assessor is basing that information on a sale price of a home that sold for $700,000. Well, we have to talk about that because that sale price is from an out-of-state moron that paid $200,000 over asking price. So how can we set a reevaluation on that? That same house has been on the market longer than the person actually lived there. It's dropped in price, no bites, dropped in price again, no bites. Finally down to, I think, about $640,000 and not one inquiry on that house. You know why? Because people aren't as stupid as that guy that bought that house for $700,000. So I'm not sure how we can reevaluate a whole neighborhood on that one comp. That makes no sense to me. We just went through a reevaluation process town-wide 2.5 years ago, correct?
Correct.
Now, state law is what? Maybe every 10 years, depending upon the assessment to sale ratio. And that assessment to sale ratio has to drop at 70%. And as I understand it, Oxford's currently at what, 86%? Is that correct?
Correct.
So we're not even close to a reevaluation, but yet we want to reevaluate a neighborhood. Again, doesn't make any sense to me. Let's do a little math, shall we? So I've been in my house for 4 years, since 2023. During that 4-year period, my assessed value has gone up 118.5%. 118.5%. Is that not enough for you? I'm just curious. The same 4-year time span, my taxes have gone up 74%. In 4 years, that's insane. Is that not enough for you? You know what the national average is? I researched that for the past same time for 4 years. And that's including liberal states like California, New York, Massachusetts. The national average is 29%. And mine went up 74%. Is that fair and equitable? Asking. Anybody? Fair and equitable? I don't think so. Last meeting, the assessor indicated that lots are going for $125,000 up there. I think that was an exact comment. 4 or 5 years ago, I bought our land for $50,000. The current assessed value of that land is $133,000. Again, do the math. It's not very hard to do. That's insane. Since we're on the value of land, did a little research as well. Are we going to reassess, Faye, are we going to reassess your property as well during this reassessment of Scenic Heights? Is that on the agenda at all? The reason why I'm asking is Thayer has 210 acres of property. Same view as I have. Okay, so there's gotta be a view tax. Same view as I have, 210 acres. And his land abuts the entire length of Scenic Heights.
You don't think mine have gone up? I'm not.
No, okay, I'm glad you said that. Your land is currently assessed at $90,000 for 210 acres. $90,000 for 210 acres. I have 6 acres and it's $133,000, but yet you want to reevaluate again. Is that fair and equitable? Just asking. I don't believe it is. So look at your GIS. There, have you looked at your GIS? Probably not.
I
Again,
thought it was high enough.
oh, 90,000 definitely is high enough, sir. But 133, is that fair and equitable? Yeah, no comment on that one.
What do you mean?
I'm just saying,
It's not me, Bob.
it's insane. It's
What?
insane.
This is public comment.
Okay, well, you can have me.
Just-
Hey, I'm not-
Just let him talk.
Listen, I'm
Gary,
not
you gotta-
discouraging you, sir.
Gary.
I'm just saying, I'm
Gary.
doing an evaluation. All
Gary,
right?
about a minute left.
About a minute left. All right, let's see if I can get through it in a minute left. I guess this is all stemming from Dan's new house, if I'm not mistaken. And again, I'm not sure who assessed Cox's new house, Dan Cox's new house. But somebody just arbitrarily put $1 million on it. Again, insane assessment. All right, so if you want to reassess Dan's house, absolutely have at it. Okay, I think it needs to be reassessed. But don't reassess the entire Scenic Heights property based off one sale price from an idiot from out of state that can't even sell that house now. Doesn't matter how far he drops it. He said if he drops it for $500,000, what he should have bought it for, then maybe he'll sell it. But you can't do a reassessment on a house that is purchased in that manner. I guess the last thing I have for you is, where do we go from here? Who actually is going to authorize the reassessment of Scenic Heights if it happens? Is it just the assessor, or is it you folks up here?
I don't know right now
You don't know?
at this point. So we, after the assessing was done 2.5 years ago, the town has gone away from having a contracted part-time assessor to a full-time assessing agent.
Correct.
That assessing agent is going to be assessing X number of properties every year. So we don't go 13 years before properties get assessed. Now, your property shouldn't get assessed every 2 years, but yours might be in 2 or 3 years, and then it won't get reassessed again until all the other properties are reassessed. You follow what I'm saying?
But we'll start with.
Because they can't reassess all the properties at once.
Right.
Like
But the reason why I'm here, okay, is you're apparently starting with Scenic Heights Drive. Because that was mentioned 2 weeks ago in the same setting. So that's why I'm here. So you're gonna start with Scenic Heights Drive. And again, the numbers I gave to you are not enough. I don't understand it. So I'm just saying, rethink this, reassess my property in another 7.5 years when it needs to be done. Thank you.
Anybody else, public comment?
Yeah, I'm Rob Pearson. I don't know, I think about Gary, but I got a couple of properties up in Scenic Heights as well. And I agree with everything that Gary said, but I'm gonna add something a little bit different color. We basically pay the full boat on taxes, and now we're talking about raising those taxes. And yet we get very little services. I mean, if you like to pave our road, I'd probably send every one of you a fruitcake. It'd be beautiful, but so we use very little resources from the town. We do appreciate things like paving Robinson Hill. It was dangerous, and that was a smart move. But we use very little services. We do our own plowing, and our HOA president has taken care of the roads and managing that whole thing, which is expensive. Potholes in Maine, gravel road, very expensive. So we do everything ourselves, and just on behalf of the community in Scenic Heights, I'd ask that the town consider, at the very least, plowing and sanding it. We're taking care of the road maintenance, we take care of everything, we take care of all the ditches, we take care of everything. But I'd ask that the town consider, plowing and sanding the community. That would, I think that would be justified for the taxes. I don't know what the tax base is, I would imagine it's 100 plus. We've got, I think, 5 lots, 6 lots open here, you think? And that's gonna bring in probably another $50,000-$60,000. Again, no real resources used by the city, just taking. So I'd ask that the town consider, at least, at the very least, plowing and sanding the drive. I appreciate that. Thank you for what you do for the town too. I know this is on your own time and your own time, and I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Anybody else, public comment?
Hi, I'm Jim Klesitz. I live on 97 New Harrison Road, off Swamp Road. A group of us are gonna get together and clean up swamp from the bridge out to Allen Hill. And my question is, because I talked to the guy at the dump, he said I need to come to the selectmen meeting to see if we can get a waiver to dump whatever we pick up off the road, tires, trash, etc., and not have to pay for it. So that's what he told me, so that's why I'm here. We're gonna be cleaning that up on the 25th of April.
Do you know what day that is?
It's a Saturday.
Saturday.
Oh, sure, it's KLESITZ.
Thank you.
Oh, and then my other question is, once we do that, you know where the turnaround is for the plowing trucks? Can we get a sign there? Because right now it says no dumping. Well, there's no authority to that. Can we get a sign that says, okay, this is what the penalties will be for dumping? Because I'm willing to put up game cams in that area because my property abuts that. You know, if we can do something like that, that'd be very helpful. And then my other thing is, real quick, on Swamp Road, there's 2 trailers that have been there since last July. And they're there obviously illegally. They've stayed there through the winter. It's just a hot mess. They obviously have no CO. I looked at all the ordinances. They're there illegally. And something's just gotta be done with it because they just keep bringing in more and more and more trash. It started with 1 camper, then it went to 2. There's now a car there in the road that's dead, that when you guys come through that have to grade the road, they actually have to go around the car. It was actually that way all winter. But I never said anything because I was like, these people gotta live through the winter, keep their mouth shut. But now here we are coming into warmer weather. The mess has to get cleaned up. It's a mess. So that's like I said.
Thank you.
So when it comes to the 25th, you said, right, sir?
Yes.
If, I'll make mention of that to the transfer station supervisor over there as well. Maybe at some point between now and the 25th, we could connect via email or what have you too, and then I can make sure he's got all your contact info and if he has questions. That works. Yeah, well, that's a great idea.
With that statement.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Lois?
Have you thought of painting the meeting house building? It really looked awful. I really slowed down and looked at it. And if we get the flag lit up yet?
The flag at the meeting house?
Yeah.
I thought it was lit up.
Maybe.
We'll go take a look.
But didn't we have a committee for the meeting house? Did I dream that?
Historical Society, maybe? I don't know if anybody else is.
I think it was part of the historical society. Well,
I thought there was like 3.
remember Tommy Cushman was on it? There was 2 or 3 others.
This was after Tommy died.
Well, I'm not aware of any new ones. There may be.
I really thought there was like 3 couples. But, okay. Jackson's on one of them? I thought
There's a
Collier,
lot of them, there might be one on there, but
well, no, I mean, I thought Collier was,
I don't know. I think it's always, that I remember, always through the Historical Society.
there's another thing, well, maybe there isn't any, oh, okay,
Anything else?
I'm done.
Anybody else? Last call, public comment. Seeing none, moving on to the business items. 5-1, review approve Bioactive LLC medical marijuana product manufacturing facility license, continued from a prior meeting.
So at this point, I believe that gentleman has turned in everything that he needs for the license. You have a copy of his application, and I believe you have everything you need. So I believe the code officer is he still here?
He's,
Yep, so I mean, we have his letter from the last time, but again, he's turned in everything that he's required to turn in, so it's up to the board how you wanna proceed.
So we don't have any problems with it, right?
The police chief did not express any issues, and the fire chief, I don't know if she's here, she's good to go as well. Yeah.
Motion to accept.
approve.
Approve, excuse me.
I need a second for discussion.
I'll second for this.
Discussion.
Have you got your state license and all that back?
Sure. It's all in now.
I just went as far as the application.
Where are we on the violation? This is one that was operating after after expiration, correct?
Do you wanna speak to that, Shane? You comfortable?
So
Sure,
before you go, Shane, so we're all aware of the prior violation on the prior license. This is not a renewal of that license. This is a new license application, just so we're all clear. Shane?
so, the requirement for the violation was for him to do exactly what he's done up to this point. I stand by my recommendation, but you are the select board and I support your decision.
But he stopped conducting business, is what you're
Yes,
saying, which was
yes.
the requirement.
He stopped and he went through the steps to take the appropriate steps to get the proper license.
And on my part, he has, everything he's gone through and did all of the necessary steps with the state, he's in compliance with everything with the state.
Questions, comments from the board?
I was trying to find real quick, how long was he operating out of compliance?
I believe it was 5 months.
Okay. My only issue with this is that if we just turn our heads to this and this comes about and starts becoming a habit, everyone's gonna expect to get away with it. And not just tonight, but in the past, we've already heard townspeople upset about the amount of marijuana, cannabis stuff, so just putting that out there that if it goes and we don't do anything about it, we're setting a standard.
I understand what you're saying. I think we are very limited to what we can do as far as prior license violation. I think that ship has sailed. Certainly this board could deny his license. That will be a vote we'll have shortly.
I'm not advocating for that, I'm just making a point.
And I'm gonna give Mr. Littlefield a chance to speak if he'd like to. If he doesn't, then I will.
The hurdle here is the word operate. They did not, I said in the last meeting on the 19th, I did not operate when my license expired. I aggressively tried to achieve an adult use, couldn't afford it, went back for a new renewal for what I've been doing for 6 years now. In a facility in Oxford where I've been operating for 30 years. I think that ought to be considered. I did not operate in the delinquent license. I had a code enforcement officer that was in one room out of 9. He never left that room. I do not know how he assessed that I operated without a license. I'd like to know how he came to that conclusion, because I did not. I'm the only employee, I'm the only one there, I didn't do it. If that's what you're questioning, the validity of my renewal, I didn't operate.
It's not a renewal.
If the past is the past, then I am compliant in all
And- and
aspects.
I'm not gonna speak for everybody when I tell you, you've heard other townspeople want to limit on facilities. That may or may not be coming at town meeting. What, that's up to the townspeople,
I
as a
understand.
majority.
I personally think Oxford, I think the Route 26 has enough,
I'm
okay?
I'm telling you as one selectman, do not be late again on renewing your license or trying to get a new license.
Won't happen.
Because we've already spoken to one other before. You will be hard pressed with this board to come before us late and ask for forgiveness.
Totally respect that.
Anybody else?
Well, technically, what I'm saying is, he's reapplied it, he does it, he's done everything that he's required to do, correct?
I would agree.
I'm not, whether.
We have through a roundabout way of not
Correct. No, I
renewing on
understand.
time, he is now where he's at. So,
Right.
any other comments? All those in favor of approving? Opposed? 4-1. Five two, discuss proposed ordinance changes.
Okay, so forwarded to all the board members, the different ordinances. The reason I'm bringing this in front of you again is there's been a few updates to like solar ordinance. I'm gonna ask the code enforcement officer to give you a little bit more of a rundown if you have questions, but as the board had an opportunity to look at how that's structured. So in short, the solar for commercial purposes is limited to the industrial zone. It's limited to 4 acres, requires a decommissioning plan.
Thank you, Jeff.
So I'm gonna, so that takes care of it when it's on the tail end and doesn't have any value. We did also include that solar can be allowed for proprietary use on even, on residential, like, so if you wanted to put it on your roof, or you wanted to put it on beside your house for your use only, not to sell. Same with the commercial property. A commercial property could use it proprietarily for this themselves, but not, selling to their neighbor or back to the grid. So we tried to keep it pretty straightforward and simple and so forth. So do you want to hear more about that from the code officer, or are you good with what's in there? Because the next step after this is we're gonna have a public hearing at the next meeting. And, let the public chime in, of course, but, I think we're getting close to town meeting ready on this one, I think. If you guys are good.
Anybody need to hear from the code enforcement officer?
Alright, then zoning map update, it's like we talked about, it's changing the industrial zone, so much of what is the industrial zone over, near Whittemore Road there, at that intersection, making it so that it's mixed use, as we discussed. And we just got an updated zoning map today, we've been working with AdCog, going back and forth, and I think we're in good shape. That still leaves, and Shane can correct me if I'm wrong, that still leaves the propane place and the mill in industrial, correct?
Not exactly.
Okay, well, clarify away.
So, am I have to come up?
Absolutely.
So I have a copy of the proposed, zoning map and the current, that's in your file, but I printed it off. All thing I ask is, you don't write on with crayons or anything, because I'm gonna give this to the planning board next week. And, so when I originally talked to Erica from AvCog, the idea was to leave, well, I'll come around and show you what we're talking about. That purple right there, that's the current, that's where we're gonna end up when we're done. So that's current, the little purple section, and then that's, so currently that, the purple area encompasses 20 properties, 17 of which are residential, 3 are currently businesses. There, getting there. So originally talking to Erica, we were gonna leave, the mill, Marigas and, Richardson landscaping, all industrial. Just leave it that way, but somehow in the mix-up, communicating back and forth, the mill side of East Oxford Road was left, it was converted to mixed use, and the right side was converted back to rural, which it was originally. And I believe Amerigas is mixed use. Look at the map. It's not a big deal, it doesn't really impact anything. I also printed off for comparison, the land use table. The yellow shows residential uses compared to the industrial zoning. And then on the second page is the industrial zoning compared up against the residential uses. So you can see the difference and what's allowed. So essentially, the reason we did this, like I explained before, years ago, that whole area was originally rural. And in anticipation of New England Public Warehouse coming in and building a large facility along the railroad tracks, the town went through the process of rezoning to industrial. I don't understand why a lot of other places outside of that area where the project was gonna take place was zoned industrial. It didn't make sense to Eric and Daphne. And the issue with that is, if you look on the first page, every residential land use activity is prohibited in industrial. And currently, 99% of the industrial area is residential. So if somebody wanted to build an ADU on their property today, I would have to deny them. It's strictly prohibited. So the reason for doing this is just undoing what was done before and bringing it back into compliance.
What's the benefits or the not benefits of going from, you wanna go from industrial to residential?
So, like
Instead of going from industrial to a mixed use?
industrial and mixed use, it allows for both. So if we went to rural, I believe, if you went to rural over there, that would put everything out of compliance.
That's currently there.
That's currently there as far as businesses.
Mhm.
And we wanted to keep those intact because they've been there for so long. If the mill ever decided to do any upgrades that would require industrial zoning, they haven't.
But it would have to be industrial, it couldn't be mixed use,
Depending on the scope of
what they wanted to
what
do.
they wanted to do.
You got that one right there, or it said no.
Well, it tells you what goes into residential and it tells you what goes into industrial, but it doesn't include mixed use. Which doesn't mean it's everything of both of these.
No, mixed use has its own,
Right.
yeah. It's a little bit more forgiving than just as far as commercial access to that area. As opposed to being rural, which is pretty limited for commercial. So Eric and I decided mixed use was kind of a happy medium. But you can see in the map, she did, so across the street from the mill, that whole stretch of East Oxford Road, she did convert that back to rural, which again, doesn't impact anything right now. And that's, in the rural zoning is what it was originally pre-1989.
Questions, comments from the board? I feel I have more questions, but.
Shane, I'm sorry, what'd you say is going to rural?
So if you follow East Oxford Road up to the mill from the intersection, on the side opposite the record lumber mill.
Yeah.
It's all rural. We
They
had
have
originally
all their
this-
stuff, all those wood
Yeah.
planks stacked.
Yes, well, no, that's industrial, that's Records property.
What about the quarry?
So the quarry is kind of an enigma. I did think of that. I think that falls, I don't have a good answer for you on that right now.
Is that mixed use?
I think it does. I don't wanna mislead anybody, but that's a whole other animal.
What's the fairness?
Yeah, I'm okay, if you don't know, you don't know. I'm just curious why we're gonna put that rural, not just leave it mixed use along and just keep it simple through that whole stretch.
When I got this map from her, updated today, that was what I was anticipating seeing, but it wasn't. So we have time to correct that, because this goes before the planning board next Thursday. So tonight's the night we kind of come up with if there are any changes, I'll get it done before Thursday.
Is that a bad idea, do you think? You said you kind of were expecting.
I don't, it was originally rural, the mixed use, we figured that would protect the businesses that are there. Like AmeriGas.
Yeah.
Pictures and landscaping. I don't think it's gonna have I don't foresee it having any sort of adverse impact, leaving it as it is now, what it shows as rural. And having the opposite side of the street mixed use.
You could do the
You can put it all rural and then leave that one parcel industrial. Charlie, up to you folks.
If you're comfortable and you're okay with it, then.
I'm okay with what it shows now.
I mean, the person of Adquag, if that was the one that drew the map up, correct?
Yes.
And I would assume they would have done what was best for the area.
Well, her and I talked about it at great length, and I don't know if that was an oversight. I never had a chance to reach out to her today, other than get this current version we have today.
So the changes, everybody that's there currently, whether it's a home, whether it's a business, whether it's industrial, the changes, they'll all be in compliance.
Yes. Everybody will be in compliance. 73 letters went out to all the butters and everybody that's currently in the impacted area. So, and they'll have a chance to come to the planning board meeting next week.
We're not restricting anybody on anything, correct?
No.
Just wanna make sure.
In fact, making this change will actually help folks that
Yes.
have looked to put in ADU and stuff like
Yes.
that.
They should have never made an industrial zone where people live. Because those houses have been there for a long time.
Oh, God. No, I agree.
Good if you see that.
Thank you very much.
So, Shane,
Yes.
just going back to the quarry for a minute.
Yeah.
So anything in the commercial as far as forestry, agriculture, related sales services, any of that is not allowed in rural.
Say that again.
Like forestry, agricultural, related sales services, stuff like that is not allowed in,
And
my bad.
yes, that's why I made the comment that it was an enigma, because I wasn't the CEO when that quarry went into operation. And from what I understand, there's another one on the backside owned by Dave.
remember.
So I haven't dug into how that whole approval process went and how we got from point A to point B with respect to those two quarries. It's a very good question.
Well, the state approved it. And then it came before the board.
But how it ties into the current zoning,
At the time, it was okay. I can't tell you now.
it very well could have been.
The other part that comes to mind is automotive repair and sales facility up on Whitmore Road.
I'm currently dealing with them.
There are a few
Yes.
So I just make sure that, you know,
While
That's-
we're in here, we take care of it all.
yeah,
Is that,
Well, so there's some legal issues we have to navigate with that gentleman, because he was given permission by a former CEO. So that, there's some case law out there that protects him. But that's something that I worked with Adam about sorting out, and we're still in the process of sorting that out. But to go in there and completely shut him down is kind of a slippery slope at this point. Yeah.
well, in that same road, it's, Oxford, Selledge, across from the airport.
what's the airport in?
The airport's in its own place.
It's industrial.
I don't, again, so to speak from experience here, because obviously I'm one of the property owners. Something weird went on Shane can't find it in the research. At one point it was mixed use and it got turned industrial, and that's when I felt like it got stretched, over the railroad tracks too, and
So I found a map from a zoning map from 1971, and it showed that entire area, except for the mill, as rural. And then I found another zoning map from 1990 something that showed the change. So there was a gap in there. And then luckily, it was actually your wife had that whole file of clippings and documents that showed that whole process, how it all played out in legal documents and newspaper clippings.
I'm very confident that it was mixed use when 98 Station Road got approved, which is on my property as well.
And it could have been, the map I looked at was old and it was colored with crayon.
So, yeah, I think like Scott's saying, I think there's a few other lines we probably need to consider coloring. Meaning Oxford Auto Salvage being one of them. I mean, that, if that's in rural and, the quarry's in rural, then obviously does that fall in? I know you're trying to take care of this one.
Yeah, so Oxford Auto Salvage is gonna be another one, I think we're gonna find, there's gonna be some legal tap dancing that I'll have to do. To shut it down.
Right, and I'm saying, while we're doing the zoning, is that what you're saying too, while we're at this, should we try and take this into consideration?
I guess that's up to the board.
It's certainly the quarry in Oxford Auto Salvage, because it's in that block.
So in other words, you're looking at, if we're gonna make these changes now, change him to industrial.
I would think that would, yeah, yep, that's exactly what I'm saying, actually.
So,
To bring him in compliance and the quarry in compliance.
yeah, I'm not arguing with you on that. Why don't we look at, because that would require more butter notices. So why don't we look at our timeframes and all that kind of stuff and see if that addition makes it so that we need to hit pause on this until beyond town meeting. Why don't we discuss that?
Okay.
And then get back to you guys.
But I mean, the reason we're going to have talk is because they know they're the people on the stuff. So I mean, I would think they would have that figured in there. I mean, maybe not, auto salvage, but it is the same.
Right, but I think it all came about and Shane kind of just went after this one problem area, and I think maybe that's what they're looking at, and we just need to. I know we have to draw a line somewhere, but I do feel it's in that block. 26 block, we might as well at least clean that up.
Yeah,
None of this has to, I don't think we're gonna shut.
They've been operating for a few years now.
Yeah, which one, both?
Yeah.
So, yeah, all of them, actually. Eric has been there.
it's very possible that Oxford Auto Salvage is in compliance. I can't think off the top of my head, I'd have to.
Yeah, it's fine.
And see what the zoning is there and how that. But yeah, that's something certainly that the town manager and I can discuss. We have time, we can still go forward with the town meeting, the planning board meeting next week. And then we can quickly shotgun another one through the pipeline and before town meeting.
Yeah, we'll just make sure we have an actual enough time, that's all,
Yeah,
you know.
of course.
Yeah. Yep, perfect. Sounds good. Are we good with Shane? Thank you.
You're welcome.
The sewer ordinance is another one, that one's pretty straightforward, we've kind of beat that horse already, I think, with with that one, as far as the standby fee. The mass gathering ordinance, after working with the attorney, this is pretty much a complete replacement. The big takeaways are, mass gathering ordinance kicks into play at 500 people. And then if you have 5,000 people, it becomes a major mass gathering, and there's some notes in there on that and some of the requirements. The attorney did make note to the clerk when we were working on this that 5,000 people was actually a higher number than most places, is that correct? That are usually it's in the lower number. I don't know that it was, we didn't really specify, but 5,000 seems like a lot. So I don't know if the board wants to think about that or not. It's been 5,000 here for quite some time. So that's in front of you, and this will be a public hearing on the 7th. The sexually oriented business license and special amusement licenses, those are in there as well. There's a clean copy in there for you folks to review. The marijuana license ordinance, though this is changing it to cannabis and some of the other items that we mentioned, but then we went down the road of putting a cap on there. So the first thing I'll throw out there is that we did get language about putting in a cap, but the lawyer did caution us that having a cap can open us into a little bit of legal challenges and so forth. So he cautioned us that other towns and municipalities have done that and found themselves in court when they've tried to put a cap and regulate that cap. So the proposed language we have, the town clerk forwarded that to you. So you have it, so you can give it a look. There's also, in an effort to, did you want to talk about the transfer of license piece?
Oh, before you move on to that, can you go back to the lawyer had advised there's other municipalities that have had issues with caps? Can you reach out to the lawyer and get some examples of what towns and what happened?
Sure, I can do that. Did he give you any examples when you spoke?
He didn't, but I'll ask him for those examples, but part of the issue is the way our ordinance is, we have it written as marijuana facilities. We're changing it to cannabis facilities so that we encompass all the different types of cannabis type facilities that state law allows and the town has allowed. There are certain portions of statute that specifically say, as long as they are compliant with what state law requires and our ordinance requires, you cannot deny them the ability to operate. And I think that's probably some of the issues that he is talking about. I try to offer a very simple cap, and of course, his response back to me was, that's not gonna hold up in court. And so you'll see there's a big long piece, and then we have to add, by capping, you have to add the transferring of licenses, which we do not currently allow that to happen. Because if you have a approved facility and somebody wants to come in to avoid having litigation, which I think the town had run into before when you were at your 5 of who had their request in first. You have to be able to offer to transfer the license. So if you have one business that we just had the question today, we're gonna be taking over their business, can we transfer the license? No, you can't, it has to be a new, completely new license. This would say you can transfer the license now to a new owner, so that somebody else can't come in and say, well, if that license is open, why can't we apply for it? And certainly as your town clerk, and I think as the board of selectmen and the town manager, you don't wanna have to have a stack of possible applications waiting for us to go through whenever a license may come available. But, certainly I'm sure he'll be able to provide any of the instances, because it was his absolute first thing to me was do it, I don't like it, because it opens you up to litigation, there's already many cases of, that they've had, their specific law firms had to deal with.
That's what I'd like a copy of, if they have a copy of one that's gone to court and they've lost. Specific cases, if they have them, then it'll be helpful.
We'll get that for you.
And I'll pull the statute piece where it says that you cannot, under certain circumstances, you're not allowed to deny, the milk community business.
So those are the ordinances that we've been working on. So we'll plan on having the public hearing and maybe on the 7th, I'll make sure we have an example from the lawyer.
So can I ask, Dana, you said earlier that the town's tried stopping this a few times.
Twice.
When we first put it in, there was what people, I was one that asked about a cap.
Sure.
It was strongly defeated at town.
Sure.
And a few years later, I don't remember what, it's been 2 or 3 years,
It came
we
back
tried to,
again.
at town meeting, and it was strongly defeated on putting a cap in.
So-
The issue I have is the state of Maine is gonna say, we can give 100 marijuana licenses to the town of Oxford, correct? And if the law says we have to allow them as long as they're in compliance,
Certain.
I have great issue with that because the state of Maine also limits the number of businesses that you have in the town that sells alcohol. If people didn't know that, there's only 4 establishments in the town of Oxford that can legally sell liquor. Retail, but they'll let you have 100 marijuana shops.
The difference is that your,
Stupid. Okay.
your alcohol.
Why we're in the state of Maine.
State
So all
controls
businesses
that,
now are.
marijuana and cannabis is set up as local control.
So if it's set up as local control, then we have the ability to change our ordinance.
You can change the ordinance, but there's just certain pieces.
See what I'm going there?
But the state courts are gonna come in and slam you.
Right. To change your ordinance, you
We'll
can
see.
require 200 acres.
Why don't we get an example from the attorney?
I'm just, my question was, have the 2 times that we brought this up before, have we not run into this? Like, how did it get all the way to meeting without running into this issue prior?
We have a new attorney with a new law firm.
Fair enough.
And there probably wasn't case law yet.
And I feel like we're starting to hear more and more from the public because I don't know how many was in business at that time, right? I know when it first started out, 2 or 3, whatever, worked to what, 19, I think we said last, 17? I think people have a different.
That's facility.
Right, facilities, the whole gambit, all different ones,
And
but,
that includes medical and adult use.
correct.
Can I just take the time to put a plug in for coming to town meeting? This is why it's important to show up at town meeting. I was at one of those votes for the marijuana facilities, and there is a pretty good turnout. And the people who have those facilities recruit people to show up. And if you show up at a town meeting with more than 50 people in your corner, you're gonna get passed what you want passed. So it's important that I'm talking to people that are gonna hopefully listen to this at home. It's important that we show up for town meeting. What's the date, Adam, for town meeting?
June 6th
June 6th, and it's at the elementary school.
at 10 a.m.
Be there to vote.
Make a commercial of it, Phil.
Nice plug, Phil.
I got a little wager going with somebody, so.
Fair enough.
Anything else on marijuana ordinance? Changes? If we could also look into the fees to the application fees, the license fees, whatever that we charge. Is that in the ordinance?
No.
That's just something that the select board can set.
Yep, correct. So a few years back, it was in the ordinance before. We did remove it from the ordinance. And so now that is one of the fees that the selectmen have the authority to revisit every year, along with the other fees.
Good to know.
Yep.
Other ordinance. That was the last one.
That was the last one, yep.
Fund balance policy update and transfers.
All right, so couple of things as I've talked to some of the board members individually about over the last few months, been working on is one, looking at trying to get our sewer, the way it's been, our sewer account has been it's been its own fund, and so you have our main account, Fund 1, and we have the sewer account, they've been operating separately, so the sewer's been operating like its own business. Well, we've talked about it time and time again, and the sewer department does not make money. So the thought process is we want to combine that with Fund 1, which is all the other town departments, and operate it just like we do a regular town department, no different than the police department or public works, any of those departments. So what you'll see here in your packet is a breakdown of all the current balances. I believe it's the last couple pages in. It's the typical Selectmen's expense report that you guys get. And what this reflects is, it reflects the balances of all of the capital accounts and unassigned fund balance and so forth, with all the changes I'm about to talk about. So the sewer fund, combining that with the Fund 1, our main accounts, and operating it just like a regular department. Also updating the fund balance policy. Currently, the fund balance policy recommends that we do that fund transfer. We can do a fund transfer when we have anything between 7 and 12% is where we want our unassigned fund balance to be. And if we're over 12%, we can transfer those excess funds, if you will, for capital purchases. So in looking at that policy and working with the auditor, we need to update that, like I've discussed with you guys before. And really, we should be running an unassigned fund balance between 16 to 24% of our expenses. Those expenses should include things like our municipal operating expenditures, our debt service for the year, the school appropriations, county assessment, our designated governmental funds, and all of our capital project funds. So we have an actual true picture of what we are obligated to, opposed to before it is always focused on just previous year expenses. So I'm proposing that you see the policy is attached here, and I'm proposing that we move to 16 to 24% is what we want our target fund balance to be. We don't do any transfers unless we have over 24%. That'll give us about 2 to 3 months worth of expenses on hand. Some people might think that that's a lot, but what's important to remember is that we have some months in this town where we have, a couple $1 million worth of expenses going out the door because we pay an $800,000 debt service, and we're on a regular month, we can have about a $1.2 million in expenses coming, with just regular budgetary expenses going through. So we need to be conscious of that. I also have included in the policy that in the event that our unassigned fund balance shows a deficit, that allows us the ability to look at our balances of our capital accounts and funds and be able to transfer the other way. So if we're in a deficit and we have capital accounts that no longer have a purpose or aren't needed for something, we can transfer back the other way. So that was not included in the old policy. So I have attached a list of some recommended transfers for the board to review, and my hope is that you folks will adopt the policy, accept the change with the sewer, and authorize the town manager to make transfers. It's a lot, sorry.
There is a lot.
So the last thing I'll add before we move on is I feel like the town of Oxford financially is in a good place. I feel like this will put us in a much stronger and better place by doing these things. I want to make sure that we never have a cash flow problem. That's the big thing with this. And I think we're in a healthy, good place. This keeps us on the right path and going in a good direction.
Questions, comments from the board?
I think you pretty much said it all.
Well, to simplify it, everybody's out there listening about fund balance and unassigned fund balance. Unassigned fund balance is basically the town's rainy day fund. So without calling it that, It's so if revenue stop coming in, we can still operate for a period of time, up to
2 to 3 months.
2 to 3 months.
I don't like the term rainy day fund, but
It's an emergency fund, really. It's
Yeah.
when you don't get the revenue you expected, you have money to pay your bills.
and also at the lows during the year when the revenues are at their lowest and the expenses remain consistent, we have enough money to pay for things.
It's our cash flow.
Right.
That's what it is. You don't have enough cash flow, you run out of cash.
And then you can't pay your bills.
There's months I have $3.2 million coming out. It ain't cash flow.
So no, it's not rainy day, right? Like, the problem, and I'm the sucker that when I hear that, I'm like, wow, geez. If we got enough money for rainy day, we should give back to the taxpayers. That's not exactly what it is. It's actually money we need that is obligated to be spent, that we're saying, hey, we need that money because the bill is coming.
Absolutely. It's exactly what it is.
So I'm looking for the board for authorization. That's why I got hold for as long as I did. Because I need your permission to do these things, to adopt the policy and make the changes.
Any other questions, comments? Can I get a motion?
Make a motion to adopt the policy.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor? To vote.
Are you also good with the town manager following through with the recommended fund transfers?
Yes, sir.
There's all that same motion.
Thank you.
5-4, draft town meeting warrant.
It's our favorite time of year. So I've attached a town meeting warrant. This is the draft. This is an opportunity if you folks can give it a good once over, make sure that if there's anything you want to see changed in there. It's standard warrant articles, but one of the things that I do want to just kind of note here is that there are times that the budget committee's number is higher than the selectmen, so the higher number did end up in the warrant article because we can only vote to the point of what's in the article, as everybody knows. Also, we removed the municipal accounts budget, which was like the liability insurance and those kind of things, and we broke those up and put them in the appropriate departments. So under some of these, I'll give you just a simple example. Article 6, which is the Public Works Department, it says at the bottom, note, department liability insurance costs were moved from the municipal accounts budget to the Public Works Department budget. With this change, the department would have been $974,000. So just trying to, so that people understand and see what's going on there. What's great is when I was reading that, I saw a typo. So, I just want to make sure that you guys are comfortable with my explanation throughout, because I think it's important for the voters to be able to understand why that last year's amount looks different than it's presented, if you will, because we've now combined everything together. You guys tracking with it? Yeah. Okay. So those are probably the biggest ticket items. I did apologies to new board members. I didn't use I used your names, but I mistakenly didn't use your formal names, so I'll update that on there as well. Otherwise than that, I think we're in pretty good shape. So please give it a read and let me know your thoughts. I'm hoping that we can
We will need a vote on this on our next meeting.
Yep. So I'll ask that you guys vote on it and sign it on the 7th, because then we can post it.
Any questions, comments on that? Seeing none. Town meeting voting system discussion. This will be entertaining.
Yes. So, one of the board members actually found out about other towns that are using a system at town meetings, like a clicker system, so that, I mean, simply put, it's in your packet, but it's like looks like a garage door opener, and what you do is you pass those out to everybody that comes to town meeting. So instead of getting your little card or placard that you would hold up at town meeting, you get this clicker. And you would be able to, when the items come up for vote, Article 6, all those in favor, you could hit yes or you could hit no. What it allows for at town meetings, it allows people to vote anonymously, and it allows people to avoid having to, some may feel peer pressure, I suppose, from how people are voting around them. So all of it is tallied up front with the clerk at the front of the room. The clerks will have a computer that'll show them the vote counts. I've talked to a couple of the town managers in other towns that have used this system. They said that they feel like, turnout's been better at town meetings. They feel like people are feeling more comfortable with their voting and so forth. So that's why you're looking at it. So there's a pros and cons sheet here. Actually, the town clerk was kind enough to put together for us. There's also a breakdown of what the system is and how it works. It is a little costly though. To purchase a system is $9,900. To rent the system is $2,900. So it is expensive, but maybe it's something we want to talk about, think about. Maybe it's not for this year, maybe for a future year. But interested to see if you guys want me to look into this any further.
The idea of sharing them with another town doesn't work.
I think that we can look at that because there's one town nearby that does share them with another town, and they purchase them together. And what they do is they just make sure their town meetings are on the same day, and then this town will use it, and then the other town will use it. So we could ask our neighbors, like we talked about.
I mean, I think that's a good idea.
If that's what the board wants me to do, is look into this further and ask our neighbors if they're interested too, I'm happy to do that.
I'd be willing to support it, ask a neighbor. I'm not willing to vouch for $3,000 to rent them or $10,000 to buy them.
I would entertain purchasing the unit with 3 other towns or something like that, but I definitely think the other thing we need to keep in mind is I'd like to borrow them, try them out, but there's a chance that we may not be doing town meeting.
Well, I mean, if you tried them one time,
That's what I'm
I
saying.
don't know, I'm against trying them one time. I think it's worth a shot.
I probably would, I would love to inquire about maybe renting from the other town at a much lower rate if they consider doing that. Maybe don't just give it to us to use for free.
So the deal on that was that you had to have your town, both towns agree to it before do it. In other words, you can't.
Right, so so if Oxford bought them, they would be programmed to Oxford, and so that's like one of the towns I asked, that all of their stuff is all programmed to their town. So everything has their logos, their stuff on it.
Oh, yeah.
And so,
Madam Clerk's buying your town over there. So we can't borrow them from another town because they're programmed for.
yeah, no, we can't, they won't let us. It says Harrison on it or whatever.
So we're either renting it, buying it, or not using it.
I think it's worth a shot one time.
Renting it would be just under $3,000.
What's that?
Just under $3,000.
Yeah, it is. But I think there's a possibility that your vote might be, more respective of what everybody's thinking.
In a scenario, if we did
They can find $80,000 for a bucket of.
what's that word I'm looking for? Tell me when you.
It's gonna be a more accurate vote.
Referendum vote.
Secret ballot?
No, it's just a referendum vote. If we did the budget at a referendum vote, would we still vote at town meeting?
No?
The town meeting would become more of a public hearing, right?
And
That's where I'm at. I think we're wasting money.
I make a motion, we try it one time, run.
I'll second the discussion.
Where would you come up with $3,000 for this in the current budget?
I would probably look at either the cable pay fund, because we can do some technology stuff out of there.
On what fund, Adam?
That cable franchise money that we received.
Franchise money that we get from having cable TV in town?
Yep, we can use that for technology stuff. I think that feels like technology to me.
Co-op on the wild side.
You should.
Further discussion?
To make that clear though, that money that is coming from the cable franchise fee is not taxpayer money.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
belongs to the town of Oxford.
It's not coming from property taxes.
It's not raised and appropriated at town meeting, you are
Correct.
But it's still taxpayer money.
Absolutely, right, exactly. Which is kind of like TIF money, this cable franchise money, there's only certain things you can use it on.
The cable franchise money isn't, no, it's very.
Very loose.
Very loose. If you
How much money do we have in that account? I don't remember ever getting into it. Have we?
Yep,
We used it when we sent the video and stuff at town office.
The video of the town office, yeah. Supposed to do the video.
Nine.
Use that money for the
8.1.
cameras at the public safety building? Didn't that come up recently? Didn't that come up recently?
Yeah, 86,000 to 150,000 are what the bids came back at.
Still a little steep, but could you use that money for that?
There's cameras and door codes.
We could talk about it, sure.
Okay, sorry, I know, I just
At a
went way off.
Yeah, let's get back to $3,000, renting the equipment, try it out. Any more discussion?
I'm gonna leave the discussion that we've had serious talks about moving to a referendum after this year. And I think it's gained a lot of momentum. My opinion is we're wasting money for 2 hours. That's my opinion. Fair enough, vote.
No further comments? All those in favor of renting the equipment for $3,000? Opposed? Very interesting to see. And
I like the
I
idea.
think you're,
I just don't like the financial commitment for 1 year, for 2 hours.
we get as many people as we want, it's gonna be a lot more than a 2-hour meeting.
Okay, 3 hours. I hope it's all day. Please, everybody.
We've been there all day.
This is gonna be good. Hey, when's the meeting again? I can't remember.
June 6th.
At 10?
That's a pro.
Yeah.
We'll remember.
June 6th, 5 elementary.
Phil, you gotta get up in front of the camera.
It's supposed to be raining that
Can you
day.
do one close?
5-6.
No fishing.
Moving on, 6 is this abatement 16 Brian Beller account 1296, the amount of $117.85. Looks pretty straightforward.
Can we just get a quick rundown, just so
Do you mind, Colleen?
we all?
Not at all.
Thank you, Colin.
Mr. Beller has missed the deadline for, filing an abatement application, that's why there is none, but this is one that I'm requesting in order to just set the record correct. He bought a, mobile home and had it moved into a lot at 142 Sherrill in the Regency Pines Park, and when he came in to, do some business in the office, he was asked to pay back taxes that were on a mobile home that, unbeknownst to anyone in the office, had been moved out of the mobile home prior in September of 2024. He moved his newer mobile home into the park in December of 2025. So he was asked to pay back taxes on a mobile home that was no longer in the park.
Mhm.
Just, it was an error.
Fair enough, thank you.
Yep.
Need a motion?
Make a motion to approve the abatement.
I'll second it.
All those in favor? Vote. Department head, we don't have one for tonight. Town manager.
I'll keep this brief. Just want to chuck it out there at the board. It's that special time of year, town report dedication. Please be thinking of some names and so forth so that we can settle on that. Ordinance changes, as I said earlier, public hearing will be on May 7th at the Selectmen's meeting. One of the board, I believe it was you, Phil, asking about train warrants. I did get a legal correspondence from the legal, email from the attorney, so I provided that so that the whole board has that and can look at it. Please let me know if there's something in there that you guys want me to look at further. Also, this passively came up in the past, and I'll bring it up again. Selectmen's meeting start times, are you guys interested at 5 o'clock, or you wanna stick to the 6 o'clock? Any thoughts on that? We have 2 new board members, is the reason I'm also bringing it up.
I like 6.
I like 6 too, to be honest with you.
Sounds like 6 it is.
I like 5, but, we're 5, so I'm good either way.
That works.
Well, you guys can, obviously, that's up to you, I just throwing it out there. Reminder of town meeting, it is on June 6th, Saturday, 10 a.m. at the Oxford Elementary School. So, that's all I have.
Selectmen items. Town meeting?
June 6th.
Anything else? That's important. People think this board has a lot of power and authority, but when it comes down to your tax rate, it's how much money is
Or
raised
your
and
tax
appropriated
increases.
by the taxpayers at town meeting. So we joke about trying to get more people out, and it's not a joke. We really do try to get people to be involved. The more people come out, the better showing we have, the better, I can't think of the word.
Representation.
Better representation we have of the taxpayers. So my vote is one vote, it's like Lois's vote, it's like your vote, everybody at town meeting is the same vote. So it's very important. If you care, if you're concerned, come to town meeting and vote. And after the town meeting, we'll remind you several times that election day is June 9th, the following Tuesday. It's always that way.
I think last year's town meeting, 123 or 26 people voted on our appropriated the money to be spent in the last fiscal year.
And
That's a good turnout.
Good turnout.
So.
And what, like 4,000? Ish. Dana, the only thing that I have is I am gonna make it clear up front before I say anything that I do live on Scenic Heights Drive, okay? And we did hear about, the abatement with the Cox family last week. And we've heard from some residents tonight as well. I don't believe that, Colleen, you did a good job presenting the information you had, right? Okay?
I
But
didn't give you all the information we had.
what's that?
Unfortunately, I probably should have given you additional information because that seemed to think that my recommendation was based on one sale, and of course it was not. So I wish I had shared more information with you.
Yeah, so I think before anything was to get done, if we could get more information, because there have been actually 2 houses that I don't know if that one is still up for sale or not, or whatever. I know they're renting it out at this point because they couldn't sell it. There was also another one that was up for sale that they took it off the market because they couldn't sell it as well. So just based on last week's conversation, right? So if you can provide some more information to justify that would go a long ways. But I don't support at this moment reevaluating that or any other community after just having this all done in 23.
Something to consider is
Sure.
we're only 2.5 years out basically
Mhm.
from a rebound, and we're already down to 86%.
Mhm.
That's not a typical decline in the certified ratio that we're seeing. That's an extreme one. So you don't want to wait for 10 years, and at the rate that we're dropping, we can fall out of compliance pretty easily. And the state of Maine extracts its count when a municipality falls out of compliance. It's just something to keep an eye on. I've been keeping the certified ratio elevated because we're allowed to tweak it. Generally 8, 9, 10 points, depends on it's a calculation. So the 100% that we've been certifying at, it's when Maine had already said we were lower, and I can't get us to 100% this year. The very highest they'll let me go is 96%. So our homestead exemptions, our property tax exemptions, are gonna be worth less. We're gonna bring in less personal property tax revenue because we have to adjust personal property tax by the certified ratio. So there's a financial impact to falling below assessed values.
I get what you're saying. If you could just
Yeah.
provide us the rest of the information,
Sure.
I think that would help. Lot 13, that other subdivision done, closed.
Yes. Thank goodness.
I'm good. I'm good, gone. I'm gonna sign warrants. Good times.
This is all I like to write. I'll send that to you. It's clocked in there.
I didn't think you were up for that.
Yes, it would be higher.
Try to get it.
Yeah.
We got to solve.
That's one way to do it. Right there.
Vote. 10, executive session.
Make a motion to go into executive session, discuss personnel matter pursuant to MRSA Title 1.
Is that a second?
I second it.
All those in favor? We don't expect any.
Discuss it.
Thank you, folks.